So it's been a while since I came out and released this big word list. And one thing I mentioned in that video is that this list will be constantly changing. So I thought now would be a good time to go back and just show some of the things that have changed over the last 6 months. Now for those of you who check this list pretty regularly, you'll probably notice a lot of things that change one day or another. You'll notice there's a lot more of these asterisks throughout the whole list. Just a reminder, that just means that I tested it and then I tested it again and got a different result. So anytime I change it between green or yellow, I'll add an asterisk. And so you'll have some, like right here, where it has been different now 5 times on that word. So like you can tell things, like they don't stay very consistent. I mean, you'll have ones where there's just 2 of them, where it was like, all right, I first tested it was green, and then I tested it again one day and it just came up yellow, and so I put an asterisk. And then I tested it again another day and it came out green again. So it's back to green. It's not a big deal. It seems like almost every yellow word has been changed on or off at some point. But then there are some that maybe just haven't been changed at all. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's been consistent forever. Sometimes they're just new words. But let's scroll down and look for some new stuff. So as a lot of you probably already know, you'll get demonetized for talking about the current pandemic that's going around. So any mention of this or this or this, I'm trying to find a way that you can talk about it and get around the bot. And it seems like if you spell it like this with no space, then maybe you could get around it. I don't know. Probably not for long. One other thing that was very talked about in the first video was the whole issue with like LGBT terms getting demonetized. And it does seem like, as of right now, they are doing a little bit better. I did come out a little while ago and announce that gay had gone green, and then it went yellow again, and now it's green again. It does seem like most terms like that are showing up green right now, so I mean, I guess that's good for right now. So some of you have probably seen some of the videos or the live stream that I've done where I explain how I go about testing these things. And usually I'll only test maybe like a few hundred, maybe like 1,000 or 2 words at a time, because just doing the entire list just takes so long. But as of February, I actually did go through and retest everything on the list. I tested every single green word first, and it added about 400 new yellows. And then I went through and tested all 1,200 yellows, and then ended up removing about 400 right afterwards. So, I don't know, I feel like this list kind of just likes to mess with me. Because on this full yellow one, we're right back down to 800. But something that really confuses and actually just kind of annoys me is when I go through and I'm testing all of these words, and you'll notice that a lot of these even have asterisks on them. Because, like, so the bot will look at this and it'll say, yeah, that's an okay word. And then another day I'll test it and it'll be like, oh, no, I figured out that's a swear word. And then I'll test it again on another day, and the bot's just like, nah, actually, I think it's okay. We'll go back to allowing it. So, I mean, with some of these, it's like, all right, it's such a weird word that the bot's probably never seen it before, so it doesn't even know to, like, give it a bad rating. But then it's really strange when these ones go from yellow back to being green. Honestly, I really do not like marking words like this as green. I know it might seem like I'm coming out like, oh, I know a secret loophole of swear words you can use without getting in trouble. But in reality, I don't really want people trying to use these words. I don't want people thinking that they're going to get away with it by looking at my list. Because, I mean, first off, like, they're probably going to get caught anyway, whether it's by, like, manual review or people reporting them or something. I have found a lot of really ridiculous results lately. Even Minecraft came up as yellow a couple weeks ago. I don't know if anyone experienced that firsthand, but whenever I get a result like that where it shows up yellow, I'm just like, ugh, I can't believe I have to put this on the list. Nobody's going to believe this. Everyone's going to think I'm an idiot. And then it just switches right back, and then I'm like, all right, at least I fixed it. You know, some words I've tested way more than others. You know, I mean, there's plenty of words, you know, that they're green. They've always been green. Like, there's no need to keep testing them over and over again. The words that are yellow, I usually test quite a lot more. Or the words that have changed quite a bit. Like victim, which has changed 7 times now. Ones like this, I usually try and go back and test more often. You know, words that seem like they're not the result that they should be, Those are the ones that I test the most. But there's one term that I've tested probably at least 10 times, and it is still not changed. And that is Shrek. Shrek has been yellow since the beginning of this list. I've tested it plenty of times and it has never changed. I mean, when you're looking through this yellow list, most of them you can understand. You know, most of them are pretty bad. But then you'll have like people's names. Yeah, there's just a lot of interesting like patterns I've noticed from this list. Like you'll have a lot of random names, but also places. So I mean, Baghdad, okay, like that's kind of a war zone. Barack Obama, that wasn't always yellow, so that, I mean, that's probably just like a temporary one. You've got words like contain and contains and copy, which I'm not really sure why those really have much of a place here. So if you're ever wondering what I've worked on the most recently or what I'm currently working on, there's always the test in progress tab down here at the bottom. And I usually just copy over all of the words that I'm going to be testing onto this tab so that it, you know, keeps it under control. That way I don't have to be like really messing up the other lists. And so what I'll do is like I'll have, you know, however many words, whether it's hundreds, if not thousands, and then I'll just go through and I'll change all of them over time. And then once I have all the results, then I'll go and copy those results onto the All Words tab, and then copy the results onto the Confirm Demonetized Words tab. There's also this Names and Places tab, which I've kind of fallen behind on because some things just get a little bit too tedious when it comes to this. But this Test in Progress tab is nice if you want to see like the most recent updates most of the time. I did make this big kind of wall of yellows recently. After testing all like 16,000 green words and got like 400 new yellows, these are all the new yellows. Except right after that, I tested all 1,200 yellow words at the time, and so a bunch of these aren't even yellow anymore. So there's a lot of results kind of mixed all together. If you want just the most accurate results, just stick with the green and the yellow tabs. So anyway, I hope a lot of you guys have had use for this list, as I've spent many hours over the past about 9 months since I started it. And so thanks to all the people who've supported the Patreon. It's been great being able to talk with you guys. I try to read a lot of the comments and I try to respond to messages whenever I can, but this is a never-ending job.